Anyway, let us start with the first and most important topic, which is ChatGPT and the fear of human replacement. So, Sujay, I'm assuming की तुला ChatGPT काय आहे माहिती आहे.
Well, I have an idea, okay? I haven't been someone who has, developed ChatGPT, obviously. So,
Understandable.
you know, yeah, I think it's like by application, it's an amazing thing. People have been working on this for a long period, okay?
Yeah.
And when this thing arrived, a lot of a few people were literally shocked. The reason is ki it's literally like something which many researchers have been working on since way too long time, and getting that thing right or anyway. But yeah, this is phenomenal, the part where it actually got implemented. But I feel there's a huge space when it comes to the overall existence of ChatGPT.
So for context for the audience, I'll explain ki ChatGPT काय आहे exactly. Just so that we can in as simple terms as possible. कारण मला स्वतःला बराच वेळ गेला to exactly pinpoint what it is. So
Yeah.
in the most broadest of terms, it is essentially a chatbot, right? But what it does is why it's a different kind of chatbot is that it has its own database. The ChatGPT is developed by OpenAI, which is supposed to be an open research group or organization that is researching AI. So वेगवेगळ्या forms of AI, whether it is conversational AI, whether it is image generative, basically any form of generative AI where you are generating something. तर त्यासाठी चॅट जी पी टी काय करतं, इट ड्रॉज फ्रॉम अ डेटाबेस ऑफ अ लार्ज सॉर्ट ऑफ नंबर ऑफ सोर्सेस. त्याला त्यामुळं लार्ज लँग्वेज मॉडेल म्हणतात, LLM. आणि चॅट जी पी टी हॅज टेकन, ॲज सुजय राईटफुली सेड, इट हॅज टेकन the world by storm because it has a very intuitive sort of result that it gives out. The output that it puts out, it is very intuitive, and the way you talk to it is also pretty cool. Now the problem that comes with something like this is the same problem that has existed for well over, I guess, what, a few decades at this point. The day since industrial automation पहिल्यांदा सीनवरती आला, किंवा इन जनरल एनी फॉर्म ऑफ ऑटोमेशन, ऑटोमेट करणं कोणतीही गोष्ट ही ज्या दिवसापासून इंडस्ट्रीमध्ये आली त्या दिवसापासून हे कॉन्व्हर्सेशन आहे. विच इज की इफ आय पुट इन समथिंग लाईक से मला आर्टिकल घेऊन दे ऑन दिस पर्टिक्युलर टॉपिक, आणि मी जरा टोन सेट केला, मी म्हटलं की या टोनमध्ये लिही, हे पॉईंट्स मेन्शन कर आणि हे प्रोज अँड कॉन्स मेन्शन कर, असं मीच इन्फॉर्मेशन दिली, तर चॅट जी पी टी कॅन पुट आउट अ रिअली good article. I won't say it's the best because at the end of the day it is drawing from these sources, it's not original. It is like plagiarism check केला तर 100% युनिक म्हणून दाखवतं ते, but that's mostly because it draws from so many sources that there's no one source that it can pinpoint. आणि आय थिंक सुजय सांगू शकेलच की प्लेजरिझम चेकमध्ये
Yes.
okay, wait, actually let me understand what is plagiarism check, just to be clear.
Well, plagiarism check, when it comes to that, let's take an example, simple example, okay?
Sure.
We write articles, we write blogs, so if I want ChatGPT to write some article, or let's say essay, if I want to do that, and if I find any relevance of that specific essay with any essay that has been written or published anywhere, and it has some forms of rights or violations that can be added if you like copy that work, yeah, you're doomed. Yeah. So it's literally that. Okay, so we cannot trust the source, as you said before, we cannot trust the source.
Yeah.
The reason behind this is actually the chat gpt was originally developed using some good amount of training data. So data is basically be- basically some people,
Yeah.
normal people, kind of responding to questions that researchers
Right.
provided them, or
Mhm.
those kind of things. But the issue is that you cannot trust that data. Okay, I mean, yeah, sure, so many users responded with so many, might be something, some question which asks like, is this positive or negative, or everyone's mindset is different, and everyone's
Yeah.
yeah. So that data is, while amazing and experimentally nice, but it's not something we can depend on, or use as a
Mhm.
source. Okay, so that's
Right.
that's the reason, we, as you said, plagiarism check, right? They have been for
Yeah.
quite a while, and actually we even tried,
Yeah.
like, I've been working on some of my own research since a while, and we
Right.
kind of thought like, we write research papers at times, a few copies, so I tried to write a sample page, and try to
Yeah.
check it with plagiarism checker, kind of two forms. Okay, actually, one was something I wrote myself by copying from different sources, and the second one was something generated by ChatGPT. I specified some
Interesting.
relevant topics, and when I checked that through the Turnitin, if you know it, I don't know. There's this plagiarism checker. It's like kind of a standard in publications world. So I tried to do that, and amazingly, the one I wrote had a lot of plagiarism, obviously. But the one with the one I tried with ChatGPT had literally like 7% plagiarism, and that's like way low, right? 93%
Wow.
originality is beyond expectations, right? So
Wow.
uh, yeah, so that's something ChatGPT can do. Okay, by the way, don't misuse it, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just I'm
Absolutely
just
not.
yeah, I was just experimenting a little bit. But yeah, that's the magic ChatGPT does. But again, as I said before, we don't know the source. And
Yeah.
the amazing thing about, as you said, chatbots, right? So
Yeah.
if there's a framework, right? Rasa conversational AI it's a very famous chatbot development, let's say, tech.
Interesting.
Okay, so they had specified 5 levels of conversational AI or chatbots, and the the part where ChatGPT comes in is the fifth level, and that's like the last level of chatbot development, which even
Right.
most developers haven't been able to reach at all. Okay, like,
Yeah.
that was a jump. Okay, so I don't want to dive in too deep here, but this is because the chatbots, as are for our conversations, they used to be
Yeah.
based upon some context, right? Like, we are speaking, we are chatting,
Yeah.
so I'm speaking about some topic, right? I'm speaking about, let's say,
Yeah.
ChatGPT. That is a context, right? That's the
Yes.
relevant context that a chatbot should refer to.
Yeah.
But in case of ChatGPT, they are direct adaptive agents. So while they rely on context, but that context cannot be relied, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wait.
so
Wait. That's a very heavy thing. Wait. Wait.
yeah,
The
yeah.
the context cannot be relied upon, even though you can rely on the context.
Yeah,
No.
so
Wait.
let me explain. Okay,
Ha. Please. Please.
so the
I'm a complete bouncer right now.
yes, I'm really sorry, guys, but this is really important to understand, right? to
Yeah.
to know the difference, why ChatGPT is something ambiguous yet.
Yeah.
So it's the context is basically some information that these chatbots rely on. Always like
Yeah. Yeah.
whenever some guy develops a chatbot, that has to have some data, right? It cannot just like
True.
come out of some scratch thing and start talking to you like a human.
That is true.
So
That is true.
yeah, so that information is basically what I'm referring to as context.
I
So
see. See.
it's like ChatGPT does rely on that context, that information. Obviously, it was trained upon that, but the
Yeah.
issue is that information is something we cannot rely on. It's not legit. We don't know where it is coming from or what sources it is based upon.
Yeah. Okay. Now this
Hmm.
makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
Hmm.
This actually brings forth this really interesting topic, which is recently Microsoft, because Microsoft has a very large investment in OpenAI, right?
Yes.
So what OpenAI is doing is all of their work is being done through Azure servers, Microsoft's Azure servers.
Hmm.
So the recent thing was Bing मध्ये they kind of introduced ChatGPT like to make search easier. And while the idea of typing in something and getting a proper answer from the search engine is the perfect evolution of a search engine, right? Instead of giving you a billion different results, it now creates a concise thing. But the problem, going off of your point, is that you don't know if the source that it is drawing from is credible. So, like the
Correct.
easiest thing, because this is tech muncher, I will take an example of, say, माझ्याकडे इथं पोको M2 Pro आहे, हा माझा फोन
Ah.
आहे. It has an okay processor, it has a good camera system, it's fine. As a budget phone, it is fine. But you will find a certain amount of people. I mean, in the age of the internet, everything has pro people and against people at this point. So you will find someone who says that. And unfortunately, another side effect of the age of the internet is in search engines. SEO केलं, चांगलं SEO केलं, तर even misinformation or fake information can be pushed to the top of a search result, right? इज दी अर्थ फ्लॅट हे मी टाकलं आणि देव न करो कुठली तरी टॉप साईट जी आहे ती अनफॉर्च्युनेटली इज अ प्रो फ्लॅट अर्थ वेबसाईट, राईट, गिविंग एव्हिडन्स, quote unquote evidence to support their theory. The problem is Bing, if it is truly unbiased, Bing will draw from it. Luckily, there is a certain level of understanding in these companies कि bias जरा सा गरजेचा आहे, I guess. That also has a different conversation entirely about whether or not biased and unbiased information helps. But to complete, like, that is like a separate topic for an entire podcast of whether biased information or unbiased information आपल्याला पाहिजे. We say we want it, but we don't know if we truly are happy with biased information. So yeah, coming back to your topic. So tell me something. आता तू
Hmm.
म्हणलास तसं इट इज नॉट अन एंटायरली रिलायबल सोर्स ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन, राईट. We can't guarantee that the information that it is pulling from is 100% accurate. Why do you think people are afraid that the chatbot that can't even produce 100% reliable information is probably going to take over their jobs? Why do you think that is?
Hmm. Well, it's a little dubious actually. I don't know if this is more about media or marketing
Lost.
or anything. But the major reason is because there's this form of data which some businesses use to create some marketing or analytics or a lot of things. Actually, they create create some amazing products as well on that basis.
Yeah.
uh, so as we know, like data is worth a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
In this current generation or current world. So ChatGPT is able or capable to
Yeah.
create synthetic data. So synthetic or like artificial data, by the way. So we
Okay.
don't know if like what companies are using it or why they are using it. See, I
Yeah.
mean, if a company is just producing some game, okay, let's say some game about, I don't know,
Let's take
and
an open world Ben 10 game.
yeah, can be anything. Yeah, that's also fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing, if you want that game to be a little smart for people, okay, so what you can do is maybe use the means of ChatGPT to produce some data, or some, like as I said, artificial data that can be
Yeah.
used to make models, or make whatever software or whatever they create, that is dependent on that data. That's something of a good application, I would also say, ethical one actually, by the way.
Yeah.
But again, as I said, key, this depends on companies. Now you won't see some financial firm using chat gpt to make decisions, okay. That
Yeah.
won't happen, right? It cannot do that. It's nonsense, okay, because it
Yeah.
doesn't know what sources it is relying on, right?
Yeah.
Who knows, like Silicon Valley Bank, I don't know if they use that or something, I don't know. So for example, I'm just mocking it a little bit, but
Yeah.
anyway, so so that's the point, right? I have no idea who is promoting this thing, or we are not at the stage where we can say, like, yeah, chat gpt can take over the world or something. Yes, it is reliable when it comes to getting help. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But again, it is experimental yet, and
Yeah.
yes, it can be a concept, an amazing concept, if developed using real and legit sources. And for those sources, by the way, to exist, there needs to be a long process, okay. So there
Yeah.
needs to be a lot of engineering, a lot of processing to make sure that those sources are reliable. So I
Right.
mean, yeah, they've created a nice framework, amazing job at
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I guess when it comes to real world, I don't think it's still, it'll take over jobs or something yet.
I think another, like, your point is really valid, but one more like interesting aspect to this, in my opinion, is key. So take for example, आत्ताची current generation जी आहे, we have a
Hmm.
shitload of resources, right? So आताची नवीन, maybe our age, maybe a bit younger than us, ही जी नवीन workforce येते आहे, they have a tremendous amount of resources, but the jobs that they are getting initially, जे base level चे jobs आहेत, they're still for that field that they're applying for, quote unquote clerical, right? like फार मेंदू वापरून करण्याचे jobs नाही आहेत in a certain sense, right? So for example, if I join a company, base package वाले कुठली IT company join केली, तर most of the time, and this is again based on anecdotal experience, you'll probably have some of your anecdotes as well about this, but most of these people are on the bench where they're sitting and maybe uh, reviewing something, or they've been given code to review from their superiors and stuff like that. And reviewing code is basically the same as proofreading for all of the people who are not really, tech savvy about code or coding. Reviewing code is the equivalent of proofreading an article, where you go through it, grammar check करणं, whether the context makes sense, अजून छोटं करता येईल का, इन्फॉर्मेशन डेन्सिटी वाढवता येईल, कमी करता येईल, हे जसं आर्टिकलमध्ये करतो आपण, सेम पद्धतीनं कोडमध्ये केलं जातं टू रिव्ह्यू कोड. तर हे जे जॉब्स आहेत, टू अ सर्टन एक्सटेंट, अगेन ॲज यू सेड, एक्सपेरिमेंटल, absolutely, like there's a lot of development still going on, but do you think that at some point, some of these lower level jobs might be to a certain extent not taking over? That's a very extreme word, but do you think they would start having a larger percentage of supervising, or rather use, because it is a tool at the end of the day? Do you think something like this could happen?
Actually, this question is actually more important to see. on the basis of where we are looking. Okay, for example,
Yeah.
in India, as you said, IT companies, those are basically service based
Yeah.
companies, right? So the issue is that most service based companies don't want to utilize too more than like too many resources. Okay, they
Option
only
of
utilize resources to maintain the quality of whatever services they provide,
yeah.
and they use more people, more workforce, just to make sure that whatever they are producing is of like utmost best quality or something. It's literally like sometimes it, as you said, reviewing code and all. I mean, it's good, people learn from it.
Yeah.
Reviewing code, is very important to for growth as well, for in the development world.
Yeah.
But the major issue is key, even if this becomes a tool or something,
How?
I don't think
Yeah.
people will, these companies will directly adapt
How?
to it, because see, at least for a decade or
Yeah.
two, if these are like enterprise tools, or kind of those kind of tools, I don't think someone would spend so much money on,
Yeah.
because they will be for sure too damn costly. Okay, and yeah, so I don't think that would happen anytime sooner. But again, yes, I mean, as you said, here, reviewing code and all these, actually, even in the current world, okay, we have a lot of tools that can do this. Okay, we have
Yeah.
shit ton of tools, testing tools, reviewing tools, which can do this job. Okay, some there are some people who actually sit in
Yeah.
these companies using these tools without using their brains, or like, I'm not like, in any way saying anything,
True.
all I want to say is these people
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
these
That is
tools
that.
to do the same job. They don't have to use their brains already. So it's a matter of,
Ah.
say here, uh, at what level you want to go with that. And I don't think
That is an interesting
companies will,
perspective.
at least
And as
not
you
so soon.
said, माझ्यासाठी the key takeaway from this part was की
Hmm.
already कमी मेंदू वापरून काम चालू होतंच. So it's just become a bit easier to use less brain. Basically, that's like that for me is the more appealing part, because okay, so this is another
Yeah.
thing that I kind of find interesting about this thing, which is I'm not saying that people will not lose jobs. Obviously, some people will. Maybe a large number of people. Maybe. I don't know the actual statistics. We will never know until we start seeing it happen, unfortunately. And there are people who study that sort of thing. But what I feel is, as a what can we say, as an intelligent species, as a technology uh, aided species, we will always, like, that is the natural progression, isn't it? Like, आपण technology in general exists in the first place to make our lives easier. सो दॅट इज हाऊ इट स्टार्टेड. लाईक पहिल्यांदा जेव्हा आगीची निर्मिती झाली, निर्मिती
Yeah.
नाही, डिस्कवरी झाली, त्याला काय म्हणतात, शोध लागला, आगीचा जेव्हा शोध लागला, तर तेव्हा द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टंट थिंग वॉज, त्याचा ॲडव्हान्टेज काय होता, तर प्राण्यांपासून आपल्याला सेफ्टी मिळेल, पण यू आर नाव ऑल्सो एबल टू इम्प्रूव्ह युअर लाईफ थ्रू कुकिंग. Then we went to the invention of the wheel that allowed us to not only save our backs by going to a certain place, using easier transportation. सेम फॉर व्हेकल मॅन्युफॅक्चर. पूर्वी हँडमेड होतं सगळं. त्यानंतर मग ह्याच्या हेनरी फोर्डने जेव्हा त्याचं मॉडेल टीची असेंब्ली लाईन केलेली, तेव्हा इट वॉज ऑलमोस्ट एंटायरली हँडमेड, राईट? The assembly line. It was a much more streamlined assembly line, but it was still much more manual. Then industrial automation started to kick in, where they started to bring in robotic arms and stuff like that, conveyor belts, ज्यामुळं आपल्याला जे मंडेन काम आहेत, रिपेटेटिव्ह वर्क जे आहे, ते कमी करून जास्त स्किल बेस्ड जे वर्क असेल त्यावरती फोकस करता आलं. So the basic thing I'm trying to say here is that At the end of the day, that is the natural progression of a society that uses technology. So, while I understand the fear that people have, this fear should only be inhabited by people who are currently in those jobs that are very mundane or something of that sort, where repetitive tasks are there. And I think a large proportion of those people are usually 40 plus or 35 plus, right? In age, especially in India, for example, क्लरिकल वर्क जे म्हणतो आपण कोट ऑन कोट क्लरिकल वर्क, अशा केसेसमधल्या लोकांच्या जॉब्सला थोडासा त्यांना भीती ठेवायला काही हरकत नाही आहे. दॅट विल डेफिनेटली बी समथिंग दे शुड थिंक अबाउट. बट आपल्या वयाच्या लोकांनी, आपल्यापेक्षा जरासं कमी किंवा जरासं जास्त वयाच्या लोकांनी ही भीती ठेवणं इज अ व्हेरी, लाईक नो ऑफेन्स, बट इट इज व्हेरी स्टुपिड इन माय ओपिनियन. बिकॉज if you think about it, this is the greatest opportunity to upskill.
So but that's the thing, right? As we move forward, we don't know how much, or how many jobs will be required, or what fixed set of jobs will be required to make sure that this whole thing works out really well. I mean, it's like people have already started taking its advantages. It's amazing. There are a few good applications as well, good products as well.
Yeah.
But again, we also have to think about validation of these things and negative impacts as well.
That is a really good point. Data valid, not even data validation, information validation, source validation. This is like the most.
Yes.
I cannot express. जे लोक ऐकतायत आणि बघतायत, प्लीज 2 सेकंद लक्ष द्या. When you get any piece of information, whatever it is, व्हॉट्सॲपवर फॉरवर्ड केलेला मेसेज, फेसबुकवर पडलेली पोस्ट, काही जे काय असेल, इट इज नॉट अ फॅक्ट अनलेस यू फाइंड समथिंग दॅट सेज दॅट based on proper sources. Also, one more thing is, I understand why people are a bit confused, which is ki in today's world, because of the large number of sources, magashi je म्हणलं मी, because of the large number of sources of information, stating one or the other thing for or against a particular topic, etc. You can't read, especially for sensitive information or sensitive conversations, discussions like politics, religion, socio-economical discussions, etc. With that, there is a certain level of nuance that is needed, and unfortunately, तू म्हणला तसं मीडिया जी आहे, it will make use of this. It will also not mention sources sometimes, and people really need to learn कि unfortunately it is not the day, or it is not the age of believing. Unfortunately, trust is something you have to earn in today's day and age. It has been the same for so long, but in today's, of all times, this is the worst possible time to blindly trust someone or something. So that is where your validation point rings very true. So yeah, that's basically the conclusion of this topic.